Hello, and welcome to the special weekend edition of the Gallant Goblin Plays Blood on the Clocktower. How's everybody doing today? That's you guys. Say woo or pretend you're excited. Yeah. This week, we're joined by Ian.
Hello.
Jesse.
Hi.
Grady.
Hello.
Ariel.
Hi.
Eric.
Hey, what's going on?
And seat number 6. Say hello, seat number 6. No, I'm leaving a seat open today in case we have a few latecomers joining us. But this week we are doing something a little bit different. We're playing on the weekend for one thing, because I thought we could open it up to a few people who haven't been able to join us up until now. I know sometimes joining on a weekday can be a little bit troublesome for some folks. So this week we have 2 brand new players in Ian and Ariel. And what I wanted to do with this is we're going to be playing a Teensyville game. So with only 5 players, we'll just do one of the smaller Teensyville games. We'll probably get to play a couple. And if we have some of our regular crew jumping in at some point, we can expand our circle a little bit. But I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the game to Ian and Ariel. Before we went live today, we talked just a little bit about the game and kind of how the interface on the app works. But I haven't gone over exactly how to play the game. Grady also, Gray Ghost Girl says hello to you too. And is happy to see you. But yeah, so what I want to do is take this chance to introduce the game to y'all and give the folks in the audience and on YouTube an opportunity to see how I introduce this game to new players, because I know that it can be a little bit intimidating to, 1, be a new player, and 2, to be a storyteller who's having to introduce the game to new folks. So we're going to jump right in. Jesse and Grady and Eric have played quite a few games with us, but hopefully this will be a little bit of a refresher for y'all too. Otherwise, Ariel and Ian, feel free to stop me if you have questions as I kind of go through some of this stuff. But I'm going to kind of just start my spiel a little bit, and we'll see how this goes. Sound good to y'all?
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, this is Blood on the Clocktower. It's a social deduction game, somewhat in the werewolf family of games, of social deduction games. If you played Werewolf or Mafia or Secret Hitler, it's along those lines. Although I think this is the best version of those games, in my humble opinion. And they don't pay me to say that, though if they want to, they know how to get in touch. When we get started with this game, you will draw a random token from our metaphorical bag. Your token is either going to be blue or red. If it's blue, you're a good guy, yay! You're on the good team. If you draw a red token, you're on the evil team. Boo! If you're on the good team, your goal is to find and kill the demon. If you're on the evil team, your goal is to whittle the town down until there are only 2 players left alive, one of whom must be the demon. The good team is divided into 2 types of characters. You have the townsfolk and the outsiders. The townsfolk are the good players who have good, useful, helpful abilities for the good team. The outsiders are still on the good team, but they have less than useful powers usually, and they exist to kind of help the balance of the game. The evil team is broken down also into 2 kinds of people. You have the demon. In this case, there's only one demon, the imp. Sometimes in other scripts, you might have a couple of demons. There's only ever really going to be one demon in play. In this case, the imp. And then you have the minions, who are there to help support their demon and keep their demon alive, and to cause some mischief around the table. The game itself is divided into day and night cycles. We start off with, I'll pass out all the tokens, and we go into night 1. During the nighttime phase, if we were playing in person, everybody would have their eyes closed, and I would be waking people up, giving people gestures to kind of give them information. But here around our computer table, what I'll do is I'll turn off everybody's camera, and you can still chat and have conversations with each other. In my particular games, I say, just don't have game chat. Talk about other things, get to know each other a little bit. You know, we have some very fun chats. It's fun for me because I'm usually in private conversations with people, so I just pop back into town every now and again, and I hear the strangest things from people. We learned about Jesse's Hollywood career last time. So yeah, we get to learn some cool stuff. But in the nighttime phase, certain characters will be doing things in secret. They might be choosing people to learn things about them. The demon's probably going to be choosing somebody to kill. The poisoner might be choosing somebody to poison. But we'll do all that quietly. Nobody will really know. I'll come and do private conversations conversations with you. So you'll get that information that way. And then when all the night phase is over with, we go into the day phase. And during the day phase, you will be able to go and talk with each other and have conversations. When there's more people around the table, there's a lot of little private chats going on. When there's only 5 players, you might just chat here in the town square, but you might still want to go off and like talk to your neighbor, or, you know, however y'all want to play it. It's entirely up to y'all. But you can go chat with however many people you want to. You can talk about whatever you want to. And you're trying to suss out who you can trust, because you're not going to know who's on the good team, who's on the bad team. You need to kind of figure that out from talking to each other. You all have a little bit of information based on your character, though. So you might use that information as a kind of a way to suss out who might be good and who you can trust. And otherwise, it's just social reads. In this game, you're never going to really have solid 100% information. You're very rarely going to have that. So you kind of also have to use the social reads if you think somebody's being upfront with you or if they're being sus. And then after I've given you a little bit of time to have some conversations, we come back and open up nominations, as we say. And what that means is you'll be nominating people to be executed. And this is how the good team kills the demon, hopefully. So for example, I'll say, nominations are open, and Ian might say, I nominate Jesse. And then I'll give Ian an opportunity to explain why he wants to kill his partner. It's not for me to judge that, but if you want to kill your partner, you can just say, Ian nominates Jesse, and then I'll give you your chance to kind of state your case. And then I'll be like, Jesse, why should we keep you alive? And Jesse will get a chance to state their defense. And then what we'll do is we'll have a vote. You'll see like a little clock hands appear in the middle of the circle here, and it'll go around, and you have an opportunity to kind of raise your hand, which you use the space bar for, or lower your hand. And if your hand is up when the little clock goes around, it will mean that your vote is counted. Yes, you can wave. Whoops, where's my button? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. Wave. Hi. Yeah, so that's how you vote. It's just you raise your hand. You'll see how it works when we get the first vote. And then to be put on the block, when there's 5 players, you need at least 3 votes. So if at least 3 people vote for somebody, they'll be put on the block. But it doesn't mean that nominations are immediately closed. You can nominate more people. And if somebody gets 4 votes, then that person who got 3 would come off the block, and the person who got 4 will be put on. And then at some point, I'll say, okay, nominations are closed. We're done. And then the person who had the most votes will be executed and die. The thing that really makes this game great, though, is that death doesn't mean you're out of the game. You can still have conversations with people. You can still participate in the game, chat with people. A lot of the times, dead players are more trusted, because if you were the demon and you got executed, the game would be over. So you're clearly not the demon, probably, unless there's some weird rule stuff going on, which we'll talk about in a minute. But oftentimes the good players, or the dead players, are able to get more information out of people than living players are. So, see being dead as a positive thing, that you can still participate and gain some information. The only thing about being dead is that you lose your ability. So if you had an ability with your character, you lose that, unless it states that it still functions when you're dead, which there's like 1 or 2 on the script that still function after death. And you can no longer nominate people, and you only get 1 more vote to use for the rest of the game. So those are the only consequences of being dead. Otherwise, you're still part of the game. Any questions about anything up until now?
Yes.
Yeah, shoot, please.
So because there's 5 people, is there always going to be a certain number of good and bad people?
That is
that I can. Yeah,
excellent question. If you take your mouse and hover over the center of the screen there, it'll show that, well, right now it says 6 players. I'm going to go ahead and remove that seat for now. We can add it in if somebody jumps in. I do it right here. I'm going to say goodbye to seat number 6. There we go. So if you hover over the middle there, it should show you that in a 5-player game, there are 3 townsfolk, no outsiders, 1 minion, and 1 demon. Okay. So yeah, that should be, of course, everybody's going to claim townsfolk. When we do our thing, everybody's gonna I'm a townsfolk, you can trust me. But yeah, there's only 3 in play.
Okay.
There are a few things that can change that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's a very good question, because knowing the number of outsiders that are supposed to be in play is very important to solving the puzzle of this game. So just kind of, if you know, like, there's supposed to be 1 outsider, but 2 people are claiming to be outsiders, probably one of them is lying, or there's something funky going on. So yeah, excellent question. Any other questions so far?
And if anyone claims to be an outsider in this game, they're lying.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily, because one of the characters who's a
right.
minion, if you look at the minions, one character is the Baron. And we'll talk about the characters in just a second, but you can look at the Baron minion, and it says there are extra outsiders in play. And what the Baron does is add 2 outsiders, in which case there would be, and it takes it away from the townsfolk count. So instead of 3 townsfolk, there'd be 1 townsfolk and 2 outsiders. So that's the only one in this game that changes the number of outsiders. But if you do have 2 people claiming outsider, then you know that, oh, there must be a Baron in play. Or just 2 people just really lying, which is also a possibility. Okay. Other questions about anything so far? No? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the characters in this version of the script. And also, I'll probably have put this on the screen earlier, but if you just want to jump, if you're watching this later on on YouTube and you just want to jump right to the gameplay, you can use the segmented timeline down below me to just jump right to the part of the video that you want to watch. But otherwise, let's talk about the characters in this game. The main one you need to be concerned with is the demon, the imp. The imp's ability says each night, and you see a little asterisk there. The asterisk is important. You'll notice at the very bottom it says not the first night. So there's some characters that act on the first night of the game and other characters who don't. So always kind of be aware of that, especially if you're bluffing as a particular character, because you want to know how many nights that you got your information, because you can get kind of caught in a lie if you don't pay attention to that. But otherwise, yeah, each night except the first night, the imp chooses a player and they die. If you kill yourself in this way, a minion becomes the imp. So the imp feels like, oh, I'm busted, they're gonna kill me. They can just kill themselves, and their minion will then become the imp. So they have an escape hatch, essentially.
I have a question about that.
Yeah, shoot.
If the minion's already dead,
Then the game's over, yeah.
the game will just, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in this game, because there's only 5 players, presuming that somebody gets executed on day 1, somebody get executed, you go into the night, then somebody's gonna be killed by the demon most likely, and then there's only 3 players left. And so that's gonna be the last day of the game, because presumably you'll execute somebody that night, and then you're down to 2 players. And whenever we're down to 2 players, the game's over. So keep in mind, town, you get 2 executions, and the demon gets 1 kill. With 5 players. Normally when we have more players than that, the town gets to execute more, the demon gets to kill more. But with this game, they're quick. They're 2-day games, and so we get to kind of run through a couple. Okay, let me tell you about the minions in this game real fast. You have the poisoner. Each night, including the first night, choose a player. They are poisoned tonight and tomorrow day. So poisoning and drunkenness are the other things you need to be aware of in this game. If you're poisoned or drunk, if you're a character that does something, so for example, the Slayer does something, the Monk does something, those characters just won't function. They won't work. I'll still go through the motions. So if you're the Slayer, you might try to shoot somebody and kill them, and I'll be like, ooh, you fire your shot, and it doesn't work. So if you're a character that does something, I'll go through the motions, but it won't work. If you're a character that learns something, like the washerwoman, the librarian, the investigator, the chef, the empath, fortune teller, you may or may not get correct information. I have the option of telling you the truth or telling you a lie. And it's just, usually I'll do what's ever better for the evil team, to be honest with you. Because usually the game balance is such that because there's fewer evil players, I need to help support the evil team. So I'll usually, sometimes it's in the best interest to give a player the true information for whatever reason. But I'll kind of just judge that. So if you are poisoned by the poisoner, or if you are the drunk, and we'll talk about that in a second, then you may or may not get correct information. Does that make sense? Okay. Those are the only status effects that you really need to worry about. Then you have the spy. Each night you see the Grimoire. So the Grimoire is my board that shows what everybody is. It shows who's poisoned. It shows any other information that I keep about the game. So the spy gets to see that. They know who everybody is to start with. They have perfect information. How they choose to use that is what's the important thing. So the spy, each night you get to see the Grimoire. And you might register as good or as a townsfolk or an outsider, even if dead. And what it means by register is from other characters' powers. So for example, the Undertaker is a character. Each night you learn which character died by execution that day. So let's say that the spy got executed by town, and Eric was the Undertaker. I could go tell Eric that what I'll probably say is not that the spy is the one who died, but whatever the spy was bluffing as. Because let's say the spy was bluffing as a washerwoman. Since their power lets them register as good or a townsfolk, I can tell Eric, yep, the washerwoman died last night. Because that's kind of a part of the spy's ability. They register to other characters as like a townsfolk or good or whatever. If the spy is sitting next to an empath, the empath can tell how many of their living neighbors are evil. I'll say like, oh, no, you're fine. There's no evil people next to you, because the spy can register as good. So that's kind of the spy's ability. Any questions about that? I think the spy is one of the more complicated ones in the script, but does that make sense? And when it says it can register as a townsfolk or an outsider, it can register as a specific one. It can register... Oh, thank you for the follow, Gibbo42. That was loud in my headphones. But yeah, they can register as a specific one, like the soldier or the virgin, or a specific outsider, like the drunk, or like the butler or the recluse, or the drunk, really. Okay, that's the spy. Then you have the Scarlet Woman. If there are 5 or more players alive and the demon dies, you become the demon. So it's another out for it's an escape hatch for the imp if they die. Because we only have 5 players at this table, this ability only functions on the very first day for the first execution. So if Eric is the imp and Grady is the Scarlet Woman, and we caught Eric on the very first day, and we execute Eric as the imp, then Grady would become, as the Scarlet Woman, would become the imp. But it stops functioning at that point because there's fewer than 5 players alive after that. So it's just another, because this is the intro script, there's a lot of safety features available for the imp to kind of give them a chance. So that's just one of those if the Scarlet Woman is in play. And remember, there's only one minion in play, so it's going to be one of these 4. You don't know which one. And then the Baron we talked about, they add outsiders. Does that all make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not going to go over every character. I'm not going to go over all the good players. What I'll do is I'll touch base with each player as you get your role. So especially Ian and Ariel, I'll come talk with you to kind of go over your specific character. The only other ones I want to draw your attention to are the drunk. So the drunk is kind of special. Nobody draws a drunk token. That's the only one that you don't actually draw that token, because the drunk ability says you do not know you are the drunk. You think you are a townsfolk character, but you are not. So if there's a drunk in play, instead of putting 3 townsfolk tokens in the proverbial bag, I'll put 4. But one of those is really the drunk. So you'll draw like the monk token, but you're not really the monk, you're the drunk. And so it's just like you are drunk or poisoned. We'll go through the motions and everything, but your just ability doesn't work right. So you don't know you're an outsider, you think you're a townsfolk, it just doesn't work. Does that make sense? Okay. I think all the other ones make sense. Just be aware of the difference between execution and like dying at night. Some things specifically say execution, and that's specifically when we do the voting around the town, and you're killed by the town by an execution by voting. So for example, the Saint says, if you die by execution, your team loses. So yeah, be aware of the difference between execution and just dying. Also, executions end the day. So whenever there's an execution during the day, you all go to bed. That just marks the end of the day. Because there's some things that can cause like executions to happen early. I don't know if there's one on this script actually, but yeah, there's some that cause executions. I think that's mostly what you need to know. Otherwise, it's just a matter of playing it and getting a feel for it. I know it's a lot of information and it's a little overwhelming, but once you get going, it becomes a lot easier, I think. And you can also hover over the little icons here, and you'll see a little book open up. You can always just click that to load up the wiki entry for the character that you draw, and it'll tell you everything you need to know there. And you got me. You can come talk to me at any point. So, how do you feel? You feel good to go? Yeah. Yes. All right. Yeah. And traditionally, the newest players are always evil. So we'll see if Ariel and Ian are the evil team this time. Right, Eric? All right.
We got to keep the tradition going.
Well, I'm going to let y'all chat. I'm going to go talk to chat a little bit and pick out our characters. So we won't be hearing you guys for a second. And but yeah, I'll let y'all chat, and I'm going to go have a conversation. So I'll be right back. All right. Hello. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah. Hey, welcome, everybody. I'm going to choose our players for this little version of our game, select our characters. So yeah, brand new game for these folks. So let's get them started, right? We're going to have an imp, obviously. I don't want to start them. I think traditionally you start with a Scarlet Woman. I'm going to start with a Poisoner. Let's get them off with something a little bit active that they get to choose some fun things with. There are no outsiders in the game. So let's pick a couple of townsfolk that would be interesting for everybody. Let's do some first night characters. I think, what's good? Okay, let's do an investigator, because I'll learn who the minion is. Let's do, yeah, we could do a fortune teller. Is that a good one? Let me see. Maybe an empath. I think an empath would be a little bit better. And let's do somebody who has a active power. Should we do a Slayer? I think that's kind of exciting. Let's do a Slayer. Okay. And normally in a game, you get bluffs to get the demon. No bluffs in a Teensyville game. So it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna go back to him and chat.
What if we all say that?
Yeah, we'll just all blame him.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm back. Yeah, I was gonna say too. I think I mentioned this a little earlier before we got started, but if you do get an evil token, really pick any of the good tokens that you're comfortable with and pretend to be that, and just come right out of the door with that bluff. Play as that bluff. Spread misinformation. Have fun with it. Just be chaotic, and you'll have a good time. Don't be shy when you're evil. You got to be like out there and in people's faces. But I am ready to hand out my tokens. Are y'all ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see. I hope I counted correctly, but it's easier when there's only 5. Here we go. Okay. And remember, in this game, usually the evil players will know who each other are. In this game, because it's Teensyville and there's not enough players, the evil team doesn't know who each other are. You're going to have to figure it out. And usually the evil demon gets bluffs that they can use. They'll know certain characters are not in play, but in this case, that does not happen because there's not that many characters in play and you got a lot to choose from, so you probably have a ton of bluffs to choose from anyway. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and head into night 1. Are y'all ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Remember, in the nighttime phase, we'll still be able to hear you, but feel free to chat about just anything you want to at all, but don't talk about the game. And I will wish everybody a good night. All right, welcome back. They can't hear me. Let's take a look. And of course, our new player gets to be the imp, because always that's what happens. Let's go and see if Ian has any questions for us.
I don't really know. I know that it was a cult because I was trying to escape, but it was like an office building where everyone...
Hello.
Hello.
So of course, new player gets to be the bad guy. You don't. Normally, I won't come to you on the first night to wake you up for during a Teensyville game, but I wanted to see if you had any questions about being the bad guy.
Yeah. I one kill this game, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you get executed day 1.
Yeah, I hope not. Do I get to know what everyone else is, or am I going to find that out? I got to deduce that. So
yeah. If
I pick a bluff that someone else has, then I might be in trouble.
Yeah, so you might want to, maybe not be the first one out the gate, but I would definitely not be the last one out the gate either. And a lot of it's just taking chances. And like I said, if you pick the same one as somebody else, if you got out there first with it and you were confident, you can probably put a lot of sus on that other person. Okay. So don't be afraid if you double claim somebody. But given the number of character tokens that are out there, there's only 3 townsfolk out there. And there are, I don't know, there's more than a dozen or so townsfolk on the script. You're not likely to double bluff somebody. Do you have a sense of which character you want to bluff as?
I feel like the easiest one from the ones I can see is the soldier, because you could just be like, I'm safe. Like, the demon can't touch me, which is technically true, because I'm the demon.
That's true. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, that's the safe strategy. That doesn't require me to do too much.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's my first game. If I like try to do too many power moves, I'm gonna mess up. So
yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, the only thing to keep in mind too is if you do one of the information rolls, you get to throw suspicion on other players. So that's always a power move too. Something like the librarian, the investigator. But yeah, yep. Pick whichever one you want to go with, and like make sure you know kind of what it means. Do you have any questions about the soldier? I think it's pretty straightforward in this case.
Yeah, he just can't die by the. He's basically just invulnerable to my killing ability.
Yeah, unless he got poisoned at some point. But that's the only way they could die. Okay, that sounds good to me. If you have questions during the game, just ping me with the enter key, and I'll come answer your question.
Okay.
All right. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Let's see. The investigator. Well, actually, the poisoner will go first. But the investigator, you start knowing that one or two players is a particular minion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that Jesse or Eric is the. Where is it? Yeah, Jesse or Eric is the poisoner. Because Eric is not going to be very easy to prove, right? He gets one shot at it, might succeed, in which case the game's over anyway. But otherwise, the Slayer is kind of a sus ability anyway, so I think that's a good one. So yeah, Grady will start knowing that one or two players is a particular minion, unless Jesse chooses to poison Grady, in which case we'll give him some complete lie. Ariel is the empath who's sitting next to two good players, so we'll get entirely correct information about being set to 0 bad guys, unless Jesse poisons her. So we'll see. That's the only setup we need to do for this one. Let's jump in. I heard that. I don't know what's going on.
Low.
But I pulled you out of a chat. You're going to be suspicious. But who do you want to poison
That's
today?
Okay.
And it's tough because you don't know who your demon is, too.
I know. I'm like big braining a strategy, and I'm going to see if it works. I'm very excited.
Okay.
So I'm going to poison... I'm going to poison Eric, I think.
Okay. That will work.
Yes.
And do you have a sense of what you're going to bluff as?
I'm going to bluff as an outsider to try to make people think there's a Baron.
Okay. Just be aware
and then
that...
potentially Eric might
drunk.
think he's the drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
We'll see if that goes well.
I love it. That's perfect. Wonderful. Which outsider?
I might just say I'm an outsider at first to be like, is there another outsider? Because if no one else wants to claim outsider, we know there's a drunk, so someone's drunk.
Yeah, and you know there's not a Baron in play, so it's a perfectly safe bluff. All right, I love it. I'll wish you luck.
Thanks.
Maybe this is going to be your second win.
Let's see if I can do it.
I'm rooting for you. Good luck, Jesse.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, just so you know, Malachi is in the waiting room now.
Oh, okay. I'll pull Malachi in for the second game. Malachi, if you're watching, hang tight. We'll get through this quickly. You are the investigator. You start knowing that one of two players is a particular minion, and you learn that either Eric or Jesse is the poisoner.
Okay.
Okay, good luck.
Bye.
Bye. Hello.
Hi.
You're the empath. We talked about that
Yes.
one. Do you have any questions about the ability?
I don't think so. Wait, I want to move our faces over so I can.
Oh, you can make them bigger or smaller by clicking on them, but that's about all you can do. I think.
Smaller work.
You might be able to. Can you? Oh, you can move them. Oh, this app is amazing. You can click and drag them.
That's nifty.
I don't
Okay.
figure that out. Sweet. But yeah.
So I just get to know about Eric and Grady.
Yes,
correct?
and so the way these things are worded is very important too. So each night you learn how many of your 2 alive neighbors are evil. So if one of your neighbors gets executed today, for example, or one gets murdered in the night, you learn about different people the next day. So it's whoever your living neighbors are. Right now that's Grady and Eric, and you learn happily that neither one of them is evil. So you learn that you neighbor 0 evil people.
But this could be a lie, right? Is that a thing?
In this game, you very rarely know you have perfect information. So, for example, if there's a poisoner in the game, they could have poisoned you. If there's a drunk in the game, you could be the drunk. But the thing to keep in mind is that most of the time, you're probably getting accurate information. So you generally want to trust your information unless you find a reason why you think you shouldn't. Because
Okay.
if everybody just doesn't trust their abilities, and nobody solves the game. So,
Right.
yeah, I would trust it until you have reason not to.
Okay.
But with your information, you know there's only 2 evil players, and you know it's
Yeah.
not Grady and Eric. So
Right.
presumably, unless there's something going wrong, you already know who the evil team is.
Okay. So I would just, in the morning, you nominate them.
Well, in the morning we'll go and have some private chats. I'll let everybody talk, and then at some point I'll
okay.
say nominations are open, and then
Okay,
you can be
okay.
like, I nominate whoever you want to nominate.
Well, I really hope I'm not drunk then, I guess.
I know, right?
Okay.
All right. I'll wish you luck. Let me know if you have any
Thank you.
questions. Mhm.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Today's video is brought to you by Hit Point Press. The deck of many animated 5e reference cards can bring even more magic to your games, and they make fantastic gifts. Get animated spell cards, condition cards, or townsfolk NPCs. You can even get in-game items like the Deck of Illusions and the Deck of Many Things. Get your deck of many animated cards using the info icon in the corner or in the doohickey down below.
He lives here too.
Well, good morning to all the animal lovers in our audience today. Unfortunately, you wake up this fine morning in Goblinshire to find your lovely, attractive, very eloquent storyteller impaled upon the hands of the Clocktower and dead. Clearly the work of a demon. I will let you all go about your day and solve my murder, and I will wish you good
Theo.
luck. Yes.
Yeah, real quick, can we add a seat for a traveler? Malachi has joined the game.
I think it's going to be
This one will go
complicated.
fast.
I think, yeah,
Okay.
we'll be done with the game quickly. Malachi, if you don't mind being a little bit patient with us, I appreciate that. Let's get through this game really quickly, and we'll pull Malachi into the second one rather than complicate things with the traveler. So, Malachi,
Oh,
love
no
you.
worries.
Hold it just a sec. Y'all go find my killer.
So I'll just go ahead and claim right now. I'm the virgin. If anyone wants to nominate me, we could that's like a
What does that one do?
test
again?
move. We could just keep it.
It's pretty.
You don't have to do it right now. Don't do it right now. Talk.
Yeah.
Nominations
little
aren't
bit.
open yet anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Nominating.
I will say, I'm not going to say which one, but I am an outsider, so I believe there's a Baron in the game. Does anyone else want to just claim that they are an outsider? Because if not, then we might have a drunk, or I don't know.
Well, there wouldn't be a drunk unless there is a Baron. So either way, there's a Baron in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that just answered something, because I'm the investigator, and I got told that Eric or Jesse is the poisoner.
Ah.
Ooh.
Oh, goodness.
You start knowing. Wait, so
Sorry.
who was the other one? Me and who?
Me.
So
Oh, so I guess in theory I could also be the drunk, but otherwise
that's true.
Jesse is
True.
lying.
I'm the soldier, so all I get is a nice little shield. I think.
You get a little shield.
Yeah, My
So
I am safe
I'm-
from the demon.
Okay, hold on now. I'm gonna put those little markers.
yeah, I'm doing that as well.
Yeah. Remember that you could click on the little circles and put them
Yeah.
around the grimoire here, and nobody can see them but you.
Jesse is the poisoner, and
I'm not.
Jesse is
That's-
claiming to be the recluse.
I'm just claiming an outsider.
Oh, outsider.
I'm not saying which
Ariel,
one yet.
Are
I'm
you
the
claiming an
empath.
outsider, Ariel?
I'm an
Do you have an
empath.
What? You're an empath. So what did you get
Yeah.
for your empath read?
Oh, that you and Grady were good.
Okay, so you got a 0. Okay.
Yes.
Unless you're drunk.
So there's some
Unless I'm drunk.
Right. Grady, would you be willing to nominate me as to test my virgin, to use the virgin thing to test your information?
Yeah, I think that'll clarify a lot of things, but we can't yet. But yeah, if
But you
anyone
would
wants
be-
to go to a private chat or anything to discuss, you still can. I don't think Theo's opened nominations yet. But when
I'll
he
open them
does,
in about a minute.
Okay.
Who I want to talk to.
Yeah, if you want to have our chat, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, yeah, I'll open it in a second. And I'll bounce around and watch these conversations.
Okay. But you're willing to nominate me. You're 100% willing to nominate. You are?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. because I'm not the Virgin. I'm the Slayer. I just wanted to see if you were willing to do it.
Oh yeah, I said I was earlier too. Yeah, I just figured I didn't want the new players to feel like they couldn't go into a private chat because that kind of is not great for evil. And so I wanted to make that clear was all. But yeah, no, I'd nominate you. Well, I guess not now, but
it was a test. It was a test of character. You passed.
So Ariel was certainly the last to claim. So if you are the Slayer, that might be a good choice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you if you're the demon.
Why are you going to ask me if I'm the demon?
Because I'm just curious.
I'm
because
not.
it might be helpful if you tell me if you're the demon or not.
I'm the soldier. That's what I told you.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I'm not sure that you're the soldier.
I don't know.
Because I believe Ariel that I don't know now. I was gonna try to be bold and try something, but no, I don't know.
What are you? What outsider are you claiming to be?
I'm the saint, so you should not execute me or we will lose.
Okay. I'm gonna mark that down, but
I hope you guys had a nice chat.
Yeah.
That is our gong to return to town.
Plotting.
All right. Welcome back to the town square. Nominations are open. Malachi is waiting.
So kill fast.
So we can't nominate.
You can nominate once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing I didn't mention before. Each day, everybody can nominate once, and they can be nominated once.
Right.
So yeah, nominations are open. And don't be shy. If you have for whatever reason, nominate whoever you want. That's how the game
I'm
works.
kind of suspicious of Ian's soldier claim.
Yes.
You have to keep
Why
reading.
less than the Virgin?
You are safe from me.
Is it also a very good defense against people nominating you?
Would you be willing to nominate me to test my claim? It would prove that you're town and I'm town.
I feel like with so few people, just nominating a townsfolk would be tricky. I don't know.
I just feel like if I was a newer player and I had to pick something to lie about, I would pick the soldier because there's nothing there other than you're safe.
I'm gonna die.
So easy. Like, I had to just real quick pick one. What, soldier?
Yeah.
You don't have to explain much of anything.
Yeah.
I'm a little suspicious of both Jesse and Grady here. Jesse was just brought me to a sidebar and was very bold about some statements. And I don't know if
Second call for nominations.
Grady's already starting some. You're not the role you say you are.
Eric nominates Ian.
You are.
Eric nominates Ian.
Yeah.
I second that. Oh, I do the hand thing?
Yeah, you could raise your hand to vote, but first of all, we're going to give Eric an opportunity to state his case.
Oh.
I think Ian is playing very cagey right now. Ian, if you are the soldier, please by all means nominate me and test out if you're town. It's easy. I can confirm if you're town if you want to nominate me.
But then I would die immediately.
Yeah, you would, but you would be proven town.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, I'll just say this for the purposes of chat and everybody else and new players, being confirmed as something is very powerful in this game because it very rarely happens. So the power of the Virgin is a townsfolk ability, meaning that it's helpful for the good team. So like I said, being dead isn't necessarily a downfall in this game. If there's a Virgin and a townsfolk nominates them, then they're both confirmed as townsfolk. Because that's the only way that would happen. And so having two people confirmed as townsfolk is very powerful. So don't be afraid of the death part, just to state that for everybody. There are sometimes reasons to stay alive. If you're a powerful character that can do things or learn things, you may not want to be the first one out the door from a Virgin nomination, but that's the purpose of the Virgin. I'll let you have your talk now.
The other side of that is if I nominate Eric and he is not the Virgin, like he is claiming to be,
then Eric would just die.
No,
Yeah.
I would just be put on the block.
Nothing will
Well,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
you go.
you're, oh yeah, because is it just nominating that does it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
just
okay. The
nominating.
nominator.
The rules
You don't
say that
have
if-
to die.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Ian, why should we
sure,
keep you
I'll
alive?
nominate Eric. Yeah, how do I
Well,
nominate Eric?
wait. We're still
Not
on
yet.
you first. We got to run the vote on
Okay,
you.
okay.
But Ian, is there
Yeah, I'll
anything you want
nominate
to?
Eric if I survive.
Okay. Anything
So-
you want to state on in your defense?
We shouldn't kill you.
I mean, I'm just a little guy.
All right. He's just a little soldier boy. The vote
Wow,
will
I'm sold.
begin with Jesse. If your hand is up, when the big golden minute hand passes by you, your vote will count. Here we go. Slow down there.
Sorry.
3 is enough. Ian is on the block, but nominations are still open.
I'm gonna nominate Eric because I don't think he's the virgin. Because
Okay.
if what Grady is saying is true, then you're the poisoner. But then
You're the outsider.
I mean,
Don't
I'm the
nominate me if
outsider.
you're the outsider. It doesn't trigger. Ah, jeez.
Oh, it doesn't.
No.
I don't read things.
Well, there goes my power.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's only the first time a nomination, a virgin is nominated. It has to be a townsfolk. But Jesse, state your case against Eric.
I think that's also a good one to claim. I don't know. Now I don't know.
All right, Eric, what's your defense against that strong argument?
My defense is I'm the Slayer. I'd like to take my Slayer shot against Jesse.
All right, Eric claims Slayer, and
So he was lying.
what is your weapon of choice?
I'm gonna use stuffed kobold plushie.
You
Hurl it
hurl.
at Jesse if you want to like put it on the screen.
Oh yeah, there we go. You hurl Rory, and Rory's firing fireball at Jesse, and Jesse definitely dodges to one side, and there is no effect.
Okay. Well, I had to test that. All right.
All right. All that being said, this is a vote on Eric. 3 votes to tie, 4 to execute. If there is a tie, then both people come off the block. All right, here we go.
We find the mafia. Is this the evil team here, Ian and Jesse?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
2 is not enough. Last call for nominations.
Sus.
All right, I'm going to call it then in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Ian is executed and dies. And congratulations go to the good team.
Damn it.
Do it again.
Yes, Ariel was indeed the empath who learned that both of her neighbors were on the good team. Eric was indeed our slayer, who was bluffing virgin. Eric, you want to explain why you were bluffing virgin?
I wanted to see who would be willing to nominate me as townsfolk because that willingness would give me a little bit more guidance on who to guide my Slayer shot with. So right now I have a 25% chance of killing townsfolk. If, say, Grady says, yeah, I'm willing to nominate you, that cuts my chance of killing the demon up to 33% just by taking the shot. Kind of lets me find the KG player. So I was like, yeah, I'll bluff to see. That's kind of what I was going for.
It's also a good demonstration of why good players might also want to lie about who they are. There's a lot of reasons that good people would want to lie, and that's one of them right there. Grady was our investigator who learned that either Eric or Jesse was the poisoner. And indeed, Jesse was the poisoner. Jesse chose to poison Eric on day 1. So would have helped. I think if you had somehow sniped Grady or Ariel, it might have gotten you into the next day. It was just a complete roll of the dice. But unfortunately, Jesse's losing streak continues, I'm afraid, just from dumb luck in that case. But yes, Ian, our brand new player, was our starting imp.
Why didn't you tell me the truth?
Oh, there was a moment when Jesse was
I
like,
didn't know.
yeah.
I didn't know how to, like, because if you weren't, and I don't know.
It's just a Teensyville game. You can all Jesse. The other thing you can do too, if you want to come out and be like, "I'm the poisoner," are you really the imp? If he says no, you can be like, "Okay, I was just pretending to see if I could lure it out of you." You can always roll it back and just be like, "Yeah, I'm really the Raven Keeper. I just wanted to see if I could get you." So yeah, those bold moves are great, and we'd love to see them. All right.